and welcome to episode 129 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
And I'm Jeff Mayo.
And this is Tipo. Welcome to the podcast. First time
I'm sure
for Tipo.
Many people would be able to look at Tipo and be like, that's Tipo.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, they might be able to tell which one is Tipo because every other character in here is pretty recognizable. So that probably less people know May than they should, probably.
Yeah, but you look at it too and like, that's a Tipo.
Yeah, I do think if you look here, you just hear the name Tipo, you pretty much know which one. Now that they know that one's Tipo, how many people would actually be able to tell what Tipo is or where Tipo comes from? Very, very few.
Very, very few.
And you're playing a dangerous game, Jeff. Setting Tipo back up is very hard. Keeping Tipo from falling. And I mean, you can play with Tipo. And just know when you stop, you're in for a journey. There you go. That was one of the quickest times I've ever seen it done. Yeah, we have a lot since the last episode of this podcast. We have actually decorated our space some. It took us 3 freaking months, but whatever. We finally did it. So we have some glorious posters in the background. We have a bunch of little friends here. It's cool. We're going to have even more on the way. More down here. More up here. It's going to be this week. Get wild. And we have our Lord and Savior We Fit in a coaster. And a lot less important, we have Overwatch as a coaster.
Fuck Overwatch.
Fuck them kids. Oh, and we have a bunch of video game news to get to today. Okay. Super excited. We don't have any talk about games we've been playing. That's going to happen soon enough. But right now we're at kind of a quiet time for games that me and Jeff care about, but not a quiet time for news. So, the only announcement I have is go watch our Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke kit, or Emerald, that's throwback. Pokemon Shield Nuzlocke kit's getting real good. But aside from that, Jeff, hit me with a news jingle.
Jingle, 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 Darby.
All right, just a very soft, subdued jingle. We need that every now and then. We need that, Just a buttoned up jingle, if you will.
It's all business today. There's a lot of businessy news. Maybe not the first thing.
Corporate shakeups. Do I need to get Kyle's Bad for Business song? Hold on.
We copy them enough. Okay, so let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about EVO, Darby.
All right. That's the most business news we could possibly get.
Yep. So we got our EVO lineup announced. I also should probably have that date up when it is. July 31st through August 2nd.
Okay.
So we got what was it? 9 main stage games, Darby. And they're going to be some smaller tournaments on the side. They're not going to be the main tournaments.
Yeah. Aren't they beefing up the small tournaments this year?
That's what it looks like to me. Yeah. I had trouble finding it and more information about them, so I didn't have them on here. But it does seem like a lot of the games that you feel I might be missing from this are getting side tournaments, even ones that you wouldn't think. Maybe except for one I've heard nothing about, but we'll get to that.
Yes, we will.
Let's go through the order they announced them, the games.
Yeah.
Number 1, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Who could have guessed?
You didn't even tell everyone to sit down.
Yeah. The best-selling fighting game ever is there, and one that's only been out for a little over a year. Of course it's there.
Yeah. No, Nintendo would correct you, Jeff. It's not a fighting game. It's a party game.
See, no, that's Sakura that would say that. Nintendo would say whatever the hell they want to say it is for it to sell.
Whatever would make you buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Fighting game, party game, they'll gladly call it both. I think they have as a company.
What it's called is a money printing machine.
Yes.
No surprise whatsoever.
Yep. Number 2, Tekken 7. Also, no surprise whatsoever. I think it's safe to say Tekken, and I'll just go ahead and say it, along with the next game, Street Fighter V Championship Edition. There's always going to be a Tekken and Street Fighter there. They're just going to be there until the next one is announced and released.
Yep.
So no surprise there. Trying to think if there's any cool Tekken characters supposed to come out. Leroy Smith we'll see at EVO.
Did that one and the other lady come out yet?
Think so.
Nice.
Dragon Ball FighterZ. Not as much of a slam dunk as you would usually think.
Yeah, it's not like that surprising, but it also wouldn't have been completely surprising if it was gone just because of the sheer amount of Arc System works.
Well, when we get to it, we got a lot of FighterZ news. After this, if this the stuff we'll talk about came before it and it wasn't there, then I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Because they're pushing it at the time of announcement. It was,
but still, to me, it's not like overly surprising.
Oh, no,
that's
no.
a huge game, and like
it's less that it's surprising. It's there, and more of it wouldn't be like a if it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Samurai Showdown. That's a little more surprising.
But I'm really happy about that. I love watching Samurai Showdown. Out of all the fighting games I don't own and don't really plan to buy anytime soon, that's the one I like the most. There's just a lot of cool.
Well, hopefully we'll get on Game Pass at some point.
Yeah, that would be.
And we can mess around with
sweet.
it then.
I just think the art style and a lot of like it's kind of a unique, with it being kind of more of a weapon fighter. I don't know. I think it's just a very cool game. It's like retro but new, and I'm glad it's on there. I'm interested in that one.
Now we're getting to ones where they're more surprising.
Yeah, it's more like wild card.
Grand Blue Fantasy Versus,
a game that is not currently out right now, correct?
No, but it's coming out.
Yeah.
I think it might be. It's already out in Eastern countries, I believe, or at least Japan.
Oh, okay.
And it's coming out here, I think March 3rd, I believe. So, I mean, that's plenty of time, obviously. So, as long, I think I'm curious about for this game if they were waiting to see what happened.
The reception?
Like they not the reception, but it getting a Western release date, because they probably wouldn't have put it there if it didn't get one. Yeah. Because we had nothing until like a week or two ago. They just announced a date for next month.
I didn't know it was that.
As far as
but another Arc System Works game.
Yeah,
they're just all over the place when it comes to fighting games.
I may not be the last one.
We've already gotten two.
Yeah. Soul Calibur 6, also not a
right
one that would,
but also another one I'm really happy is there.
Yeah,
because from everything I've seen, and I'm obviously ignorant, but from everything I've seen, I think Soul Calibur 6 has a lot of things that like competitive people really like. I think this is a popular even amongst the Soul Calibur games, on the competitive.
We need to play it more. We got the copies. We have the 2Bs.
Yeah.
And how Maru's gonna from Samurai Showdown's coming out pretty soon.
That is pretty cool.
Yep. So that'd be fun. That's a character that's gonna be in 2 different games.
I hope Geralt makes an appearance. I have no clue if Geralt's good or not.
Yeah. It seems like with guest characters and I have no basis for any of this. I just feel like with guest characters for these games is either they are broken or they're absolute trash.
How was Link back in the day? I know everyone was happy just to have him there, but like
I honestly have no idea
how good he was.
I could never not tell you. That would suck as far as competitive goes for Soul Calibur 2, because each system had a different guest fighter.
Yeah, like so what did they do in those tournaments? Like
I have absolutely no idea.
Because it seems like they have to pick some system, so it's like, well fuck, I'm a Link man.
I feel like they would go for the most popular, and I felt like the GameCube one might have been the best seller out of the 2.
Yeah, it's at least the most talked about. I don't 100% know if it was the best selling.
I might be wrong. I think I remember hearing it was the best selling.
Because the GameCube itself didn't have great sales.
No.
But yeah.
No, absolutely not.
That is a crazy thing. Sorry, tangent, but just the fact that happened is wild. Like every system had a different one, and the fact that Xbox just got spawned, right? It's like really random. It's like, oh, Xbox doesn't have the iconic characters.
We talked about this before, but imagine Soul Calibur and everyone was here, at least with guest characters.
Oh, that would.
So you have Geralt against Darth Vader against Ezio.
Oh my God. Dude, I mean, like that would be so much harder because it's just so many different
against
licenses.
Hiachi and against Link.
There's so many licenses to get, but
the problem is that could only completely happen on a Nintendo console because Link.
Yeah. It like that whole thing that feels more like something that would happen today than back then. The fact that they got Darth Vader in this fighting game back in the like early 2000s or whenever that was, like that's wild. That's pretty wild for its time.
Next game, Under Night In-Birth X Lake Clear.
Yeah, you better read that whole title.
You bet, baby. This was definitely one of the more surprising ones because it was brought back because of the community for it, or not brought back. It was added last year because of the fan community, and I guess partly because it got a re-release updated version or whatever this past year. that helped keep it in the spotlight.
Yeah, this is one that's definitely a way more niche game. Even when it was announced last year, it was like, oh, okay, and that's really cool for those people, but it's definitely not a huge popular game. So I expected that to be a 1 year thing, but it is coming back, which is cool. For I hear a lot of people like the fact that it was at EVO meant a lot to them, and
I imagine. Well, it could be Grand Blue, I guess, depending. I imagine one of those two is going to be replaced by Guilty Gear next year.
Yeah, Guilty Gear is making its way on here somewhere.
Yeah. Final game: Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
The throwback.
Yep. For the 20th anniversary, he's having an invitational tournament where they already sent the invites out for 4, and one of them I saw a tweet for is like, oh, well, I guess I'm in this tournament. They didn't say who. They didn't tell them like, hey, we're inviting you to this thing. The invitation was during the stream.
That's crazy. So it was just everyone's caught off guard. No one knows what the hell's going on. That Maximilian dude's head was spinning.
That is really cool. We talked about this off camera, but I would love if this was a trend of they just have like one legacy slot.
It would be really cool.
One legacy invitational slot.
And I would like for it changes every year. So like you get to every EVO announcement, like you get all the announcements. You're like, cool. But what's the legacy one going to be? And then it's like, oh shit, it's Street Fighter 2 or some shit. Like that would be really cool.
Yeah. I don't expect this. I know this is going to be a nice thing for 20th anniversary. The dream is this is a planned thing with Capcom, and they are announcing the next Marvel vs. Capcom game. That's the dream.
Is the dream, but I doubt it. I am very skeptical on that. I really do think that this is just a cool thing for the 20th anniversary of this game, and I think it's as simple as EVO asked Capcom, and Capcom said yes, just because it's very easy for them to do, and I guess it's promotion in some way, but like I highly doubt that it's tied to any sort. I mean, I do think a Marvel vs. Capcom game is going to happen eventually, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think it's going to be tied to this at all, Sadly. I mean, I could be wrong. But I am skeptical. I wouldn't get my hopes up.
So, Derby. There are a lot of games you could say we're missing from this thing. I guess
there's one real one.
Well, there's one before we get to the main one. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle's not on here. That's not the biggest surprise ever, especially with all these Arc System Works game. I think 4 may potentially be overkill. So
I think they definitely it's like Grand Blue instead of that, which is the new shit.
Well, and from my understanding, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle in particular is not as big as far as the competitive scene goes. Yeah,
it's probably the least competitive of all the Blaze Blue games and everything.
Yeah, Arc System Work games, so. But what is really missing is a NetherRealm game, aka Mortal Kombat 11. After 1 year is gone. But NetherRealm games getting out like after 2 years is no big deal because it's just replaced by the next one.
Yeah,
but we have no Injustice 3.
I mean, when is the EVO, like, I don't remember EVO ever just not having a Mortal Kombat or Injustice or something.
It's been a while.
Maybe there's, I mean, sure, there's been years, but I just don't remember that. And especially,
I think it's been a while.
Well, especially for, like, 11 is, like, the top-selling Mortal Kombat game of all time, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like, for that time.
Yeah, but it is one of those cases where the difference between the casual audience and the competitive scene.
Mortal Kombat is a very casual fighter. Like, obviously Smash is more of a casual fighter, but it's just beloved. And that's why
I think with Smash in particular, I mean, obviously Mortal Kombat sells a lot, but Smash definitely sells a lot, and just the nature of it, it just appeals to so many different fan bases.
I mean, Smash is a culture that is tied to EVO and tied to fighting games and everything. Well, it's weird that it's tied more to Mortal Kombat, but it is. I mean, I understand it from the competitive side. It just seems like Mortal Kombat, they're always going to put that in there to draw eyes because it's probably the top selling game on this list, right? Or at least close to it.
Other than Smash.
Yeah, I mean, that's in Smash or whatever. So I'm surprised it's not on there just for that, but the fact that, the competitive scene is not as intense for that makes sense. I also think there's a possibility, like Maximilian dude on his video was saying maybe NetherRealm is going to be hosting their own big tournament or something around this time or sometime this year, and that's part of it too.
Yeah,
could be.
If let's take out the whole this is a NetherRealm decision thing, which it could be. And but I feel like I've been reading some stuff, and this is anecdotal and partly because you're watching Maximilian dude's videos, that it feels like competitive people prefer X to 11.
Yeah,
from a competitive standpoint.
Max says that too. Yeah, a lot of people do,
And
that's what I love. I like 11 a lot more, but I'm obviously way casual.
yeah. Well, what you want Mortal Kombat for, or at least you, different than those people.
Yeah, and I'm just not on the level to where I could understand how this wins mechanically worse. Because you know, to me, it feels better for me just like knowing my few combos and going.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Mortal Kombat 11 is a game I absolutely love. It was like it was my like second favorite game this last year. It's probably one of my favorite fighting games of all time. I love it, but I really don't have much room to complain because I don't watch EVO anyway. It was there last year and I didn't watch, so I can't really complain too much, So, yep.
Good list of games.
Yeah, it is.
Hearts isn't working.
I mean, they deserve it, dude.
Yeah.
They are killing it.
It's kind of like a kind of slowly then suddenly quick thing where they're just on the rise and just dominating the fighting scene.
No, the last few years they are easily one of the most impressive companies and had one of the obviously they've been around for a long time, but the last few years they have turned their name from just you kind of know this if you're big in the fighting games, kind of a niche name or whatever, to oh no, holy shit, everyone stops and pays attention when they release a game, and just they're like the telltale of fighting games, where it's like they will take every franchise and thing and they will churn out 4 games in 2 years, and they're all 4 fantastic. It's kind of unreal.
Yeah.
They must be, like we were talking off camera, a much bigger studio than we give them credit for, just size-wise, because it's absurd how much they put out.
I was looking at it from a company standpoint for how many people got how many games. Nintendo has 1. If you really want to stretch it, Bamco has 4 on here. Tekken 7, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Soul Calibur, and they help on Smash.
Yeah, I mean, part of that is just being a big company that owns all this. Obviously, all these are very different teams, whereas Arc System Works is one core company making all of these. But true. That's more of just publishers being huge and owning a bunch of different franchises more than it is we're gonna take this creator's work, over and over again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where all those Arc System Works have a shared DNA. It's just a very solid DNA,
Hey, Tekken and Soul Calibur have a shared DNA in Yoshimitsu.
There you go. That's all you need.
Okay, let's get to some fighters news, Darby.
All right.
Yep, we had the Fighters World Cup or whatever thing yesterday and today. It ended today. I was watching a little bit of the final match in there.
I heard a lot of screaming.
It was crazy because I'm blanking the guy's name. Whatever. Goichi, yeah. Who ended up winning. The first match, he did a perfect. And then the second match, the other guy did a perfect on him. I'm like, oh god, this match is insane already. But yeah, the 2 days of this tournament, one day they announced some general game changes, and then today, which we'll talk about first, they announced the third Fighters Pass.
Yeah.
With a Z, of course. Not to confuse with the Fighters Pass for Smash.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is the edgy one.
Yes. So, we already knew that Ultra Instinct Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku was coming.
So excited, right?
So excited, man.
But needs more Goku.
Yeah. He's not coming until spring. But we're getting a character beforehand, Dari. This month, in fact.
2 weeks or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're getting, finally, after all this fucking time, we're getting Kefla.
Hey, I've been asking for her for so long,
She's coming February 28th, and I believe they say you get her and any other characters from the past 2 days early if you get the pass.
Okay.
So, all that kind of stuff. Finally, Kefla's in this game.
How big of a deal was that?
I think it's a big deal for multiple reasons. Okay, they're finally hey, we're going to do more super stuff other than just Goku's.
And it wasn't the cat Super, or was he before Super? Beerus, is that his name?
He's weird. He was technically in a Dragon Ball Z movie when he premiered, but then they made that retold that movie in the Super show.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had more Super afterwards, but but they're very picky. They haven't really touched Well, actually, no, I'm not giving them enough credit for that. Whatever. This is a character people really wanted since she was shown. I believe, if I remember timing adds up, she was first shown in the show when FighterZ at least either was still going or when FighterZ had already been announced or just came out and we already knew we were getting DLC characters.
They've had time to.
Yes, and this is when people like demanded put this character in the game. I mean, it's partly because she's a badass character for one thing, and you can see where she can do cool things with her moveset, especially in Arc System Works art style and FighterZ art style. And the fact is, she is a female character that could be standalone, which this game is severely lacking.
Very lacking.
Because all the female characters, we got 21, which is a character they have to make up.
Yeah.
We got Android 18, who has their brother help her. And we have Videl, who husband helps her in the moveset. So
it also feels like a Dragon Ball problem.
No.
Very few
people blame Arc System Works for that stuff. No, it's a complete Dragon Ball problem. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I don't blame Arc System Works really, but I blame them for the Gokus.
Yes.
But Kefla looks awesome. I'm excited to play her. I'm going to get back into FighterZ and play more when she drops because of what's coming with her in season 3. A lot of changes during this. These are huge changes. Yeah. So on the first day of the tournament, they went over this general game stuff. First thing and the biggest thing they announced is multiple character assists.
Right.
So for people who don't know, FighterZ is a 3-on-3 fighting game similar to Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah.
And just like those games and all those other tag games, when you're fighting with one character, you can press a button and the other characters on your team can come out and do assist moves. Up to this point, all fighters only had one assist move. So if they were on the team, you knew what assist was coming out. And that really drastically influenced how viable competitively each fighter was, because they had a shitty assist. They were no good for the most part. It was
that important.
Like people point out Krillin specifically because his assist sucks, and he's bottom tier mainly because of that reason.
It's like even if your moveset's not as good,
if your moveset's really like great, fantastic, you can probably make up for it up to a point. Yeah. But if your assist is shitty, you're probably not being used much at all. So having these multiple assists will immediately change the meta. At least I think so. I think most people agree on, because it is making a lot more characters viable and it creates options.
So did you see any more about how this actually works?
Yes. So you go on the character select screen, you select the character, and I don't know if you remember this. It's remember when you select a character, you can select their color or whatever. It's going to be like that, but you have the assists you can scroll through and pick.
Yeah. So I mean, are these new moves that are the additional ones, or is it just like existing moves in their moveset that are being transferred over to be an assist? Or
pretty much. I mean, that's what the original assists were. Just their own moves.
Yeah. So it's just they're taking like 2 other moves.
Yeah, 2 other moves. And if I remember seeing right, looking at the trailer, like I think one of Cell's assists for them was like a little combo. So I don't know how crazy that's going to get.
It could just be a full combo extender thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what assists mainly are, to extend combos. And this allows a lot more characters to be viable with that, because that's a big part of fighters.
That's interesting. So they're not making new moves. It's just like they just chose 2 more, but it's kind of just whatever they chose, the developers. You don't have like free reign for like any of their moveset to come in. It's a set 3 for each.
Based on what it looked like, just on a quick thing, because we just saw scrolling, it's like there are different types of assists. So I imagine if they're like 3 different types.
Okay.
Like a popular version of assist is the beam. So like when popular one is when the assist is just like Goku coming out during the Kamehameha. I think there's a type like for that, which again will make like Krillin a lot more viable and a lot more characters a lot more viable.
That's
the fact that you can select to do that. So this is a huge change.
It sounds like it might also, I mean, it sounds like it might just be a good, healthy thing for the game as far as just making more players like viable in general.
They actually had with the director in the video, she was talking about they wanted to do this so people didn't feel like they had to pick a character for the assist, and they can can use like what they want to do and put more of their personality into their character choice.
Now I hope whenever have people been able to actually see what all the selections are for the assists in each character, because
we got I have a couple in the trailer.
I'll be interested to see if it's like everyone's like like 3 different assists are so well rounded that it like opens it completely wide open, or is it going to be like this character, even with 3 different assists, are not like the best or whatever? You know,
I'm gonna have to imagine there be some characters like that, but after this pass, we're gonna with these new characters. I didn't mention with the characters, there are 3 more characters other than Kefla, like Goku, which I guess then I might make some quick predictions.
Yeah.
But that's 45 characters, so naturally some of them are not going to be as good.
Yeah.
But this opens up
a lot of combinations.
Yeah, that opens up for more unique combinations because I watched that tournament. I don't watch fighters too often, but in the grand finals, they had a couple characters that have been in the meta for a while in Perfect Cell and Bardock, and both of them had Kid Goku in there, who I heard is top tier.
Yeah.
And then they had regular Super Saiyan Goku and regular Super Saiyan Vegeta, which have been definitely Super Saiyan Vegeta's been top tier, I think, for the lifespan of the game. Goku I don't think it's been top tier, but definitely been useful.
Yeah.
So I think this will change the meta like immediately. This impact will be felt.
That was really cool. Can you imagine being good enough at the game to where this is at all relevant to you?
I can already see it being relevant to me even on my skill
That's
level.
good. That's good.
I want to get more into it to be able to do all this stuff because I love fighters. They showed new UI for the character selection thing, just make it more clean, and I guess help make room for these other characters being added, which is nice. There's some new meter / comeback mechanic to help avoid one-sided battles that are very much in competitive. Like I said, those battles where they both did perfects on each other.
It was just like an endless combo.
Yeah, that kind of thing, and it can be easy to overwhelm your opponent sometimes. So doing that kind of stuff to make sure that's not as much of a thing.
So we don't know what exactly that is.
No.
Okay.
Probably find out soon. I imagine this will come out with Kefla.
I mean, I feel like that could be received well, or it could be really hated if someone feels like they're robbed out of their win.
Well, let's see how it's done. More frequent updates because they kind of did the thing of throughout this world tour or whatever thing they were doing. They didn't do updates like really much during it, just kind of some set intervals where they's like, no, we're actually not gonna be shy to put in balance updates and stuff during this. So things will change all the time. So kind of like what Overwatch is kind of doing more about.
Overwatch is going crazy with it, but that's better than silence.
Also a pretty interesting change when when you're charging up your key, you can actually knock back / absorb weak projectiles. So you can't spam projectiles against someone.
That's good. Sounds good. Another good, a good change.
And they didn't go into the details, but apparently they're new modes.
Just new modes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, new modes.
We like new modes.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, 3 new characters. I'm very curious what these are going to be. I wonder if they're going to go for a tournament of power theme, and continue it with Kefla.
I'm about to say, does Kefla fit with that? I don't know what the tournament.
Kefla's from Tournament of Power, so is Ultra Instinct Goku.
Nice.
So a couple characters that could be good is Topo. Google him. Google this man. It's Top and then Po. One word.
All right. Yeah, I know. Topo.
There you
go. He looks big. He got a big old beard.
And look at the one to the far.
Big old fists. He is ripped.
No, he's great. I hope he's in there.
He looks very visually different than a lot of them. I like him. Listen, if someone put the Lorax, Lorax's face. He does look like the Lorax, dude. He's a buff Lorax. Look at that man.
He's a god of destruction in training, and when he goes into that god of destruction mode, it is so badass.
His fists are so big, and choke me, daddy.
Yeah. So I hope he's one of the characters. If they're gonna also go Tournament of Power, I think Master Roshi would be cool to finally get in here.
Yeah, I learned yesterday that he actually fights.
Yeah. That would also be cool. Trying to think who else might be cool. Oh, Mr. Satan. That wouldn't be Tournament Power theme, but we need Mr. Satan in this game as the joke character. I need it.
And then he's OP. Absolutely. Broken.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's the undefeated champion of the world. Just saying.
That's what I've been saying.
And Ribrianne is...
Put some respect on that name.
Yeah. Ribrianne might be another one because the Toei and the people behind Dragon Ball seem very fond of her. She's the one I mentioned to you is kind of a Sailor Moon-esque character.
Just put Sailor Moon in the game.
Yeah. So, yeah. Thinking it could be in here. So I'm excited to see who more. They got the one I wanted the most out of the way, so that makes me happy. And they got the one, my biggest fear, out of the way. So here, I'm like, who knows what will happen.
There's good and bad all over the place. So
I mean, at least, again, like I said, if I had to, I know it makes sense, especially with this many characters that have multiple Gokus, because there's so many of them and they can do different things, blah, blah, blah. But I wish they just kept regular Goku, Kid Goku, Ultra Instinct Goku. Especially look at that trailer. He's so badass, and especially in this art style, I love to watch it. He looks great.
Yeah.
But again, just so many Gokus.
It's boring. Are all these changes out now, or?
I don't know if they have a date. I imagine it might be at least some of it, like the character assist when Kefla comes out.
There you go.
So I hope so. No.
And that was Kefla is coming February 28th. So
yep, I guess February 26th if you buy the pass ahead of time, which I will be doing.
Nice.
And we need to play more.
Be excited, and maybe come watch Jeff destroy me on stream if we do a bunch of fighting games in stream.
Yes,
that will not be one that I win. 100% guaranteed.
You'll kill me on Mortal Kombat, so it evens out.
Yeah, there we go.
Unless I find like a way to spam the Joker move or something.
Which you definitely, I mean, me winning in Mortal Kombat is not guaranteed, but I think in a long enough, if we played enough battles, I think I would win. Unless you took Jade away from me, then no, I can't win.
Okay, Dari, we got some interesting new stuff coming on. Now there's a lot of businessy stuff.
All right, time to put no more fun. All business now.
Yeah. A bunch of companies kind of had, their quarterly reports. As well, most of them had also other news to kind of go along with it. So I just have it branched out by company.
All right.
So, yeah, let's go.
It's the business time.
This comes from Matt Kim from IGN. We got some news first from Rockstar. Dan Hauser, the co-founder of Rockstar Games and head writer on games like Bully, Red Dead Redemption, and Grand Theft Auto, is leaving Rockstar and Take-Two Games in March. News of the departure comes from a Take-Two Interactive SEC report. A Rockstar Games spokesperson has added a comment regarding the news of Dan Hauser's departure. The company didn't address Hauser's departure directly, but reiterated that Sam Hauser, Dan's brother and co-founder of Rockstar Games, is still at the company. In a statement to IGN, a Rockstar Games spokesperson said Sam Hauser's role with Rockstar Games, which he founded in 1998, remains unchanged. Sam and the team remained focused on current and future projects. According to Take-Two Interactive, the parent company of Rockstar Games, Dan Hauser will be leaving the company on March 11th, 2020.
Yeah, so this is obviously a very big deal. Dan Hauser is one of the most important people in games. It's always been kind of weird to me how Dan Hauser has as much influence, if not more influence, than the Hideo Kojimas, the Ken Levines, Cory Barlog, all these other people of the world. But he's not someone you see. No. At all. I didn't even know what he looked like until
I opened up this article that's what he looks like.
And he is a huge influential person in games, but we just don't, he's just not that personality that's out there in front of everything. He's a very more quiet, just man behind the camera type deal. So we don't know him as much, but it is a very big deal. But it's also not one of those that because Rockstar is so secretive and so behind the curtains about everything, we don't even really know how much Dan was involved with a lot of these things. Hideo Kojima and these other ones, and Ken Levine, what a Kojima or Ken Levine game is, because from game to game you have seen him and their influence, and they're very open about that. With the Hauser brothers, you obviously all these games are incredibly well written and have an identity behind them, but you don't really know how it ties to the specific person.
Yeah.
But it's something I think is obviously a big deal. It's not something that I think that people need to be worried about Rockstar with, And
it's a very interesting thing. It's just a general curiosity because this is a fear people potentially had at Rockstar in general, and this will probably instill a little more fear of where does Rockstar go from here? Because Red Dead Redemption 2, as we'll get to, sold very well. But obviously Grand Theft Auto 5 is king.
Yes.
Do they potentially, especially now that Dan's gone, put the story aspect, single player aspect more to the side and just focus more online, or what? It's
very possible because honestly, Red Dead Redemption 2 reminds me kind of Blade Runner 2049. Obviously, it did like way better, respectively, than that movie did. But it reminds me of that in a way that like Blade Runner having that kind of budget for the type of movie it was made no sense. I love it, and we got this art house movie on a Star Wars budget, and it was beautiful. Probably my favorite movie of all time, and it probably will be for a very long time. It's phenomenal, but it's not something that made any logical sense, and it lost a lot of money, and it was just. It didn't make sense. Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't make any sense. It does not make fiscal sense to spend nearly a decade on a game, hundreds of millions of dollars, and devote that much into story and everything. Like, even with it selling well, the amount that game cost, and everything, versus what it even made from there is probably not worth the 8-year development cycle.
Or it might still make money, but yeah, I'm sure this is where you were going compared to what they made from Grand Theft Auto 5.
And compared to what they could be making for future things like that.
Yeah.
That makes more fiscal sense. And I do think there is a concern that, I mean, this could go in a way that like you don't even realize Dan Hauser's gone and everything just kind of stays the same, goes normal. But you could definitely see Red Dead Redemption 2 might have been like the last hurrah of the era of Rockstar.
Again, we'll have to see how it goes. I can see them still doing single player games. I just don't think they'll be the budget of Red Dead Redemption.
We might not see another video game period have that much singular time and budget. Mm-hmm. I mean, legit.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense. Like, that might never, ever happen again. Rockstar was the only company on Earth that could have and would have done that. Mm-hmm. And they might not do that anymore. Like, that's something. I mean, Hauser being there or Hauser not being there, I don't think a Red Dead Redemption 2 equivalent would ever happen again. Because,
I don't disagree.
I'm not like shitting on it. I'm so glad it did happen.
It's one of our favorite games of all time for both of us.
It's my second favorite game of all time, and I think I remember whatever like in the months after Red Dead Redemption 2, I was talking to you, and I had to have a legitimate talk of like, was this a game that topped Final Fantasy VII for me? No, but goddamn, it's close. But yeah, like I definitely could see this being a sign of, and you saw Dan Hauser go on his like sabbatical like right after this game was done, and it's pretty clear now that he always intended to leave. They were probably just waiting to reveal this until they got some distance away and let Red Dead sell and let people think that Rockstar is still like completely normal, and then they announce it later. Yeah. But it makes sense because I'm sure that game took a fucking lot out of him. Obviously, a lot of his team. There was a lot of controversy with their work conditions and everything. And that's another thing. Dan Hauser and the Hauser brothers are not like saints, but
yeah. So this would be the bright side if they didn't had another Red. I mean, again, like I agree with you. They're probably never going to do a game like that again. That much work again. The bright side of that is if they went more into the Grand Theft Auto Online thing, is probably less crunch.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, I don't know. GTA 5 is a hard thing to dissect because very clearly the reason why it's making its money and like it's the vast majority of its money and sales have been because of GTA Online. Like that has been what's kept this game relevant for years and years to come. But am I weird for thinking that like GTA 5 still wouldn't have quite its cultural just like phenomenon relevance if it wasn't for like it also had a multi-million like super lots of effort put into it story mode as well. Like,
no,
I kind of do feel like that's part of the culture of GTA. Like
I definitely don't disagree with you. I think it's a thing of if maybe I think it would still probably be big. Maybe not as big if they just released Grand Theft Auto Online. I think it was just a thing of you pull them in with the single player thing, which is obviously what they promoted hard leading up to that game. And then people stayed for Grand Theft Auto Online. Yeah. They improved it. Word of mouth got out there like crazy. And I think rightfully so, a bunch of people bought into it.
Well, and I still feel like that same exact thing could happen for GTA 6. I think GTA 6 could come out with an insane story mode that is critically praised, and that seems like the big drawing factor at the beginning. And then 8 years later, the big drawing factor is online. I mean, I don't think that that's like an outdated model. You see single player games sell super well right now, and online games sell super well right now. And the great thing about GTA is it was both. It pleased both people. There's a lot of people who consider GTA 5 one of their favorite games of all time and never touched online or barely touched online.
Or it's the other way around.
There's both. That's the beauty of GTA is there can be two different people who both consider this one of their favorite games of all time who never touched each other's side of this pie. And I think that could work again. I also think it could work if they completely sliced off the single player.
So the only thing is about the online thing, it's because it's built such a community and stuff. I guess it depends how they would go about it, but I think them just doing Grand Theft Auto 6 online. Well, I guess it's called Grand Theft Auto Online, so they got the out that way. But I wonder how they would do that with the next game, or would the Grand Theft Auto 6 just be a...
It could still just be called GTA 6, but it's just
a single player, or maybe just around it, just for the whatever publicity of it, they have a major overhaul of Grand Theft Auto Online to correspond with it.
Yeah, or it could be like we could be foolish for still talking about this as two different things. It could basically be you have a GTA 6 story that has online is intermixed with it more so than the kind of split package here, which I think would appeal less to me, who would want like more of the story mode. And a lot of the game journalist crowd like the story mode over the online, but that's obviously not what the general public wants. No. And I do that, when someone like this leaves, who is one of the two founders of the company, that definitely could be a time where things change. You still have Sam Hauser there, so who knows? And they were reiterating that like Sam's still staying here, so that it seems to be they want to like make that clear. I don't know. Yeah, could be very interesting.
Yep.
But he's a very influential man. I mean, like his writing, you just list those games. It's like, oh, those are some of the most influential games of all time.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Well, let's get to the sales part of all this shit. This comes from Daniel Mott of Nico Partners, who I'll say his name every time we do it, but I got pretty much all the sales stuff from these quarterly reports pretty much from him for the most part. So, okay. Take-Two has confirmed that The Outer Worlds has now sold in over 2 million units worldwide. I say that's pretty good considering Game Pass.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that angle. Yeah. And it seems like that trend continues, that going on Game Pass doesn't really hurt your sales. If anything, it might increase them because it just gets more people talking about your game, period. So then other people hear their friends and hear other people talk about it and then go get it on PS4 or whatever.
This whole situation is weird because this is we consider this a Microsoft game, but it's
sold Take-Two. More on PS4 and it's Take-Two, technically.
Yeah. Weird thing. But I'm sure Microsoft is very pleased, even if they're not seeing much of this money.
I don't think this game had that big of a budget, so 2 million copies is probably
plus
more
whatever Game Pass. And just what Microsoft getting out of this for brand recognition or whatever is huge.
Yeah,
so everyone wins.
Yep.
The Nintendo Switch version for Outer Worlds is scheduled to release after April 1st, 2020, due to the impact or the coronavirus.
Yeah, we just they put up a whole post about that.
Yeah.
You're going to start to see a lot of things in every industry be affected by that.
Well, we'll get a little more to that later.
Yeah. It's just commerce in general goes through China for so many different things, and it's going to affect the entire world.
Yep. Borderlands 3 cumulative sell-in is now approaching 8 million units worldwide. Feels low, maybe, for that game.
Yeah, it's hard to.
I think I can't remember the exact wording, but they said. Like, obviously, Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead are blowing away sales or exceeding sales expectation. All that are selling great. And then I think they said for Borderlands and Outer Worlds, they're selling fine. I think it was wording similar to that.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're blown away by
I was about to say, that's not that bad. But then I thought, I was like, if you had just said 16 million, I wouldn't have been surprised either. So maybe, it could have. It's not bad, but maybe compared to what I wonder how that compares to similar time frame for Borderlands 2 and stuff.
Yeah.
I think Borderlands 2 has sold 25 or 30 million or something like that.
Yeah.
But obviously that was by over a long time.
Apparently it's 13 million. Or it might be a very old thing. It's on Wikipedia. It might be really old. Never mind. Definitely far bigger thing 22.
That looks more right.
So Yeah, I can see them being a little disappointed in that because especially with the way games are so front loaded nowadays, especially these games as a service. Yeah, I can't imagine Borderlands is going to have the legs to get it close to Borderlands 2 sales.
Probably not. Yeah, which is what I probably should have stuck to my guns because I think like before Borderlands 3, I was like, I don't think this thing's going to sell what they think it's going to. But I mean, I was probably expecting way too low. I still think 8 million is nothing to shake a stick at. But
this is about their expectations. Add information. Sorry, selling for the game was 5 million units in its first week, which is another 3 million shipped since.
That kind of shows to your point of you sell most of your copies right away. And then
some games have crazy legs, but I feel like a lot of these Western games have a service games, unless something happens and it just keeps on going. Like some games in particular, they kind of sell and then.
Yeah, you have some examples like Rainbow Six Siege that just like hit its peak like way later on and everything, but. Borderlands 3.
I feel like those kind of things, and like even Destiny, I think is like exceptions to the rule.
And part of Rainbow Six and even Destiny was them figuring out what their game was and changing it later. I think we know what Borderlands 3 is, and I don't think Borderlands 3 is going to drastically change to get people in. In fact, that was kind of the main criticism of Borderlands 3 is it's Borderlands. It's not like shaking the pot at all. It's not doing anything different.
Red Dead Redemption 2 cumulative sell and is now exceeded 29 million units, up from 26.5 million units from the prior quarter. The PC release has provided a solid boost to the game, which has now sold more than double the original game. Not the PC version, but the 2 in general.
You can't stop the cowboys.
And I think I saw something. This might be Rockstar's second best-selling games behind GTA
I saw
5.
That too.
So, pretty good for Borderlands.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah. I mean, kind of. This is, even though I think that's good as far as a quarter or whatever, 2.5 million. Nothing to sneeze at, but I think even Red Dead is kind of what I was saying about Borderlands. Of some games just selling a lot early because it passed 20 million, I believe, pretty quickly, and then it kind of.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, it kind of started slowing to a crawl. To me and you were both like, "Damn, this game's not going to sell as much as we thought, or whatever." But it's slowly getting like super high up there.
I think the problem is we were comparing it too much to thinking. I mean, we didn't expect to get anywhere close to GTA 5, but maybe we expect to get a little too closer than.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when you're coming off of the best selling games of all time to not expect someone.
I think we also maybe expected the online to take off a little more.
I think that is the biggest killer of Red Dead.
I mean, that's it. I mean, that's it.
yeah. I mean, it's actually not that hard to dissect. It's the fact that if online doesn't catch on, I mean, this is kind of a good microcosm of like if GTA didn't have online, it would probably sell about 30 million units, and we'd be like, hey, really good. Move on with our lives. But
speaking of GTA, GTA 5 is now sold in 120 million units. Sorry, wait. 120 million units worldwide. That means it sold around 20 million units in the past year alone, which I think might be one of, if not its best year.
It's like it's fucking console sales. It's like console sales numbers, and it's like 20. It was like one of the top selling games of last year, and it's a 2013 game.
Can't stop, won't stop. From the Take-Two earnings release, 2K announced that Cloud Chamber started to work on the next iteration of the globally acclaimed BioShock franchise, which will be in development for the next several years. So don't expect BioShock news anytime soon. I don't think this surprises either of us, right?
No, this is really no new information. They already said, they announced that earlier and said that they were early on. This is just kind of reiterating that they're very early on, but yeah.
People need a reminder.
Yeah. I mean, but it is weird because like that Jason Schreier broke the same news 3 years ago. Yeah. And they were working on this BioShock game like 3 years ago. So I feel like something went wrong.
100%, yeah.
If nothing went wrong, then they should be close to announcing this thing rather than, this. It is weird, the wording. Like they're just getting in front of it and be like, nope, we're not going to do like we're going to be up front. We're making a BioShock game, which is fine. I mean, like, honestly, as much as I love the video game hype cycle, sometimes I think you need to do this to take the pressure off of some of these devs,
Yeah. But okay. Let's get to some Activision, Dirk. I know it's your favorite company.
It is my favorite company. I love the Bandicoot. He's my favorite, man.
Well, I got good news for you. Emma Kent from You're a Gamer. I have good news, and I have bad news. It looks like there's a new Crash Bandicoot game in the works. However, it's an endless runner for mobile. How do you like them apples?
I need to look at his soulless model, and I haven't seen it yet. You can
Artwork showing a new Crash Bandicoot mobile title seems to have leaked via Facebook ads, and the image have now been splashed across Twitter. Thanks to the logo, we know it's being made by King, the Activision-owned developer behind Candy Crush. While I forgot they own King. While the gameplay pics suggesting you'll be swiping between different tracks to bob crates and collect Wumpa fruit, basically Temple Run, but Crash Bandicoot.
Ugh. He does look kind of soulless. It looks like Crash without his makeup.
Yeah. Love me.
It's just, I mean, this is what you get when Crash is on Activision. You're gonna get the money to bring back the trilogy and make Crash Team Racing, and that is good. But it's Activision.
Until they had microtransactions.
I was about to say, but it's Activision. So you're also going to get loot boxes in this old game and mobile games like Cash.
Fuck, you made Crash Team Racing on microtransactions feel successful.
Because it's fucking Activision.
God
Again,
damn it.
they're gonna give you your
It's
nostalgia.
nothing sacred.
They're gonna give you your nostalgia, but they're also gonna use that nostalgia to slowly choke you and pull all your money out of your wallet.
I mean, I have a problem with the Crash Team Racing stuff, but this is not a surprise whatsoever, and I'm honestly surprised that happened sooner.
No, it's just again nostalgia being turned into like just taking like old characters and like turning them into like commercially produced things like to just eke your money out of your pocket is kind of gross.
Yeah,
just on a grand scheme scale, like all these like mega corporations have us by the throat because we're nostalgic about old cartoon looking characters. Like we're nostalgic for our childhood when things were simpler, and now those childhood simple icons are in the hands of people in suits in Lamborghinis and mansions.
Dari, this is going to sound really random, and you'll probably forget about it, and no one will understand it for a while. But I just thought of something really good I could do with that potential Nintendo logo thing.
Okay.
Well, you'll find out in a couple weeks.
Okay, tease. It's a tease for me and you, listener.
But yeah, hopefully we just get a new Crash game. Speaking of new games, well, not really. This comes from Matt Kev from IGN. Activision says that players can expect many more remasters and reimagined experiences.
Your nostalgia is a commodity.
From in 2020 after the success of revived franchises like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. During the Q4 fiscal year 2019 investor call earlier this week, Activision Blizzard CFO Dennis Durkin revealed that in addition to new games and IP, Activision will continue to tap into our portfolio of beloved IP to bring several remastered and reimagined experiences to our players in 2020, which we'll announce closer to launch.
Yeah, I don't have ideas for exactly what this could mean, but Activision has
they already did the Crash and Spyro stuff. Anything I can't think of anything that I'd actually be excited about.
But Activision probably owns a lot of IP that you have no clue they own because
it's true. I think I listened to the Easy Ass podcast and they might have mentioned something. We're like, oh yeah. It wasn't like I particularly cared. I was like, okay, well, I guess that'd be neat, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised they're doing this because it's a cheaper way to make lots of money.
Well, and reimagined experiences could mean a new Crash game, and they're reimagining Crash in a new style or something.
Yeah,
could or. Probably more remasters of old things, but definitely feels like Crash and Spyro are the big one, at least for our age range and interest.
Yep.
But yeah, I also didn't know that they owned King. So like we act like Blizzard and all this other stuff is their biggest thing. It's not. It's fucking not. King is like one of the most lucrative video game companies in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Some more Daniel Ahmad stuff. Overwatch has surpassed 50 million players since launch. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Makes me happy.
Darby, sit down. Sit down.
Okay, are we in the upside down world? I was already sitting down, so I'll stand up.
The next Call of Duty game is planned for Q4 2020.
I should have sat down. You're right, Jeff. T-Po's going to have to go on the rest of the show. I can't.
T-Bone's not talkative. I killed Elise in Exilia 2, remember? No, she's a doll.
She's very unhappy with you.
World of Warcraft Classic will get new content, same as any other Blizzard game. Same as other Blizzard games. Diablo Immortal planned to enter testing in the middle of the year. Some other stuff I didn't really think we...
Very enthusiastic. We are very enthusiastic about this news here, you can tell. Yeah.
So, it's just the thing of, and this is why I'm not doing it, because... There's stuff that doesn't interest us personally, but like with the fighter stuff, I at least have something of that.
Oh, no,
but it's also stuff is we have no knowledge for a lot of this stuff.
No, in this podcast, or at least I think, I want to engineer a podcast where we talk about the things that we give a shit about and that we can actually speak on. We are not like, if we are someone's sole source of video game news, then I feel sorry for them, because like, it's just that's not what I'm not here to read a press release at you that we don't give a shit about. So
well, this is very important. Yeah. Okay, we are now going to Ubisoft. I think there's some juicy stuff in there.
Ubi.
All this stuff, Daniel Ahmad, blah, blah, blah. Ubisoft expects 3 of its 5 new, there's some stuff, yeah. So Ubisoft announced they're going to be 5 AAA games for this upcoming fiscal year.
Yeah, which is October to December.
Wait. Well,
no.
Yeah, I'll get to it, Darby. I'll get to it.
Sorry, you said fiscal year. I just read that.
I mean, it's true. But Ubisoft expects 3 of its 5 new AAA games to be released between October and December 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get to some of that more stuff later. The final 2 AAA games will be released between January 2021 and March 2021.
That's the fiscal year.
Yes.
That's the end.
And here's where we're going to get into maybe some of the more fun talking stuff. More information on these titles and launch timing in mid-May. People are freaking out like, that's where the next-gen stuff is happening. I mean, maybe. Or maybe they'll just drop trailers for some of these stuff we know. Because 3 of these titles are Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, and Rainbow Six Quarantine. I'm surprised to consider Gods and Monsters AAA, if I'm being honest.
It was their one more thing at E3.
This is true. And it's crazy to me still. Dari, this game is supposed to come out in like 2 weeks.
And we have not seen the damn thing about it at all.
That's why it's getting pushed back to October at the earliest.
How is that date ever realistic?
So, Dari, here's...
Me and Will said that. Like, as soon as that trailer happened, they were like, February. We're like, fuck it, really? I don't think so.
Yep. All games are expected to support next-gen consoles with AC patches. That's what has me excited. Because, I like games earlier, blah, blah, blah. Watch Dogs Legions, this has me excited because that means I can get it with my next-gen console.
Yes.
And not have to really wait that long, which I'm 100% going to do.
Yes.
I'm going to get it with my PS5.
But if it's backwards compatible, then it doesn't matter.
I mean, it'll run better or look better.
How do we know that... I would assume we still don't know how this is going to work, but I assume like you could play it on there. But I assume backwards compatibility means that even if you buy the PS4 version and you put that PS4 version in your PS5, you're playing the PS5 version. So it kind of doesn't matter when you buy. I mean, wait to play it into your PS5.
I mean, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, it's more of I can get it for my PS4, PS5, whatever the hell I do.
Yeah,
and I can wait maybe at most a month to play it on my PS5, and that'd be what my launch games. Which that sounds awesome to me. I'm excited for this game, and with that system, I'll like the PS5 power.
Yeah. I just think that we need to get out of the mindset of like I still hear so many people being like, oh, they're gonna release a PS5 version of that. I don't think that's how it works. I think the question is, are they gonna release a PS4 version? But like. For a lot of games, it's
here's the thing, Darby.
I think any PS4 game is a PS5. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing. They are going to 100% release PS5 versions of these games. Just for packaging standpoint, because people are stupid.
Yeah, they will. Like I said...
stupid was the wrong word. Not knowledgeable and this stuff is the better way to say it.
If this works the way I think it's going to work, then like you are always 100% better off buying the PS4 version. Okay, it's basically the PS4 version means that you have both versions, whereas the PS5 version means you have one version, which is really weird, but... I assume that's how this is going to work.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we had a console that was actually backwards compatible, so it's kind of we haven't been in this situation very much. But I guess if you bought a Wii game, you could buy it. You could play it on your Wii U.
Yes.
But if you bought the Wii U version of that game or whatever, you could not play it on your Wii.
Because it's about formatting stuff, the way the discs are made and how they read discs.
So you were better off during that era of buying the Wii game.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah, it's gonna be things like that. So like for Watch Dogs Legion, buy it on your PS4. You don't know, someone might come in and rob your PS5 and steal it away and crush it under the feet, and then you're like, damn, I want to be the old grandma. I guess I got
Yeah. Let's see. Other stuff, and we can get into some more general stuff after I read all this stuff. Worth noting that Ubisoft not going to include games such as Just Dance as AAA. In other words,
even though it makes more money than any of them.
Yeah, that's about a budget thing. They make bank on that game with its budget. In other words, whilst the official word is 5 AAA games, this is Digital Mod speaking, I would expect to see some other AA size games launch in 2022. Roller Champions being one already announced. And we got a little update from Jason Schreier about those last 2 games. Anyone holding out hope for Splinter Cell is once again going to be disappointed. Sorry, it's Assassin's Creed of Far Cry.
The most the most obvious one. I mean, like, it's what we all should have been expecting.
And I mean, not that this needs to be added on, but they specifically pointed this game out. Ubisoft confirmed one of the 5 isn't Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
That's... Which, I'm like, man, they're doing crazy stuff for the game, so it's just being straight up next gen, potentially.
And that's not a surprise. I did not expect that game this year. It was so freaking early in development, and like they're showing us videos of people's like webcam videos of the person, the developer making the game. It's like, no, you're not getting that game until 2022, probably.
So, these 5... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was saying, these 5 games being here was no surprising. I mean, obviously, the 3 of them were obvious. And it being Assassin's Creed... One of the last 2 being Assassin's Creed was the most obvious thing in the world.
Yes.
Far Cry is also not surprising.
Do you want the coldest take in the world?
We don't need it, being one of them being Far Cry?
It's fucking time for Far Cry to do this year off thing like Assassin's Creed is. Like
they had to go.
They had to go to the. Didn't they have New? And was New Dawn 2 years ago?
No, it was last year. But this is the year off, probably. But no. The two of these 5 games is going to be next year. I imagine Far Cry is going to be one of them. That's my prediction. My prediction is the 3 of them that's going to be this year is going to be Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, and maybe of Gods and Monsters.
The Far Cry needs to be different. I mean, Far Cry is just like...
I don't disagree with you.
And I loved Far Cry. Like, Far Cry 3 and 4 I had a blast with, and I had so many fond memories, but Ubisoft is so bad about just like taking something you love and just turning it into this annualized, barely changing, just kind of factory produced thing over and over again. And I think Far Cry has lost the shine. Like, I don't think when people hear about a new Far Cry game, I don't think they get pumped anymore. I mean, it might sell decently well, but I don't think people get pumped for it anymore.
So predictions for timing of these, and let me know if you agree. I'm thinking with these timetables, Watch Dogs in October, Assassin's Creed November, maybe switched. Of Gods and Monsters somewhere in that timetable. I don't know. That one could be a 2020 game. I'm thinking Far Cry February, which they've done in the past. Yeah. And then Rainbow's Quarantine in March.
Ubisoft's a pretty boring company. I mean, like, that's how it always works. That list that you just did, that's just pretty normal.
Yeah. So
I mean, they're Ubisoft's not a bad company. They make a lot of good games, but it's just they're a very formulaic, predictable company.
Fingers crossed is they don't count Mario plus Rabbids as a AAA. I don't think they would.
I don't think they would either.
So fingers crossed for that. But
again, I hope so, because like, at least that was a lot more of it. I mean, Ubisoft is just a very like consistent, like never terrible, but they're not a creative company. They're very like non-creative.
Well, they said they're gonna get more creative, but we probably won't see that in these games. No. I mean, we're seeing that in Watch Dogs.
Yeah, at least we did see them, like, they responded to Breakpoint. It, like, sounds like they took for some reason, Breakpoint is the one they took all the criticism to heart, probably because it actually affected sales, where, like, that's never been affected before.
Yeah. So, as far as these games go, again, I'm really excited for Watch Dogs. That's one I'm planning on getting.
So curious to see reviews.
I am very curious about Gods and Monsters.
I mean, me too, but like, I mean, only because they like dare to use Breath of the Wild's name when people were talking about this, and it's like, all right, well, you have my attention, but I'm also like, that's a high praise. You got to live up to this.
Yep. Okay, Darby.
We doing a game?
We doing a
surprise game? Oh shit! Everyone, hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your buttocks.
Grab your buttocks. We ain't ready.
So, Darby, we are playing a completely original game by me that never been done before.
Never been done before.
Called Smooch, Wed, or Murder.
I'll be 100% honest. I did accidentally look over and see this before we started the podcast, so I did know this was coming. But I respect it a lot. As created, no one ever did it before the Easy Allies either. No one had ever done this before.
Okay, Darby. So pretty much what I did, I tailor-made these to you.
Okay. Tailor-made to me.
Yeah.
It me.
At least I think. Or at least some more so of, well, some of them specifically for you, and, you know, not picking characters you don't know. I know you don't know.
Here's a bunch of Kingdom Hearts and Xenoblade characters. Which one you like?
Okay, Darby. First,
Goofy, Donald, or Mickey?
Okay, Darby. First one. Tifa Lockhart. Triss Marigold. Carmelita Fox.
Yep, he knew. He knows me. So what was your terminology, Smooch?
Wed or murder?
Wed or murder. Yeah, we changed the words. It's totally
Change what, Darby? There's nothing to change.
No, there's nothing to change. Let's see. Let me think about this. All right. I'm gonna marry Tifa.
Okay.
Because I think Tifa is definitely a lot more like she is kind of the. I could see spending the rest of my life with Tifa. She's not as like wild and crazy. She is, you know. I think she would be a good one to settle down with. This is where it gets hard. I'm gonna say Smooch Triss. She's wild and crazy. Think it could be fun. But also, there's another element to this. If I had to try to kill Triss, who has crazy sorceress powers, I don't know if that would go very well. As badass as Carmelita is,
you don't have to think of you.
She is just a cop with a gun.
Don't think of the act of you trying to murder them.
Jeff, I'm thinking deep.
Okay.
Thinking deep. But, I don't know. That is hard though, because they are all three fantastic. But I stick with my choices.
Number 2. Cloud Strife, Geralt of Rivia, Sly Cooper.
Yeah, we know. It's just it just goes on. See, this problem, like Sly has proven that he's not gonna stay at home and be a family man. He's gonna ditch you. The life of crime is gonna call too hard, you know, to him. Like I don't think he's gonna be a loyal man for you. Geralt's a lot of fun, but he might not be loyal to you. But I think Cloud in the end will be. I think like in the beginning, early game Cloud, no. Early game Cloud would be one night stand, he's gone. I think in game Cloud is someone you could stay with. So I'm gonna marry Cloud. Okay. Now here we are. at the crossroads, as people would say. Again, Geralt's just too alluring. I'm sorry. All right, Smooch Geralt.
Not like it's the exact same for the men and women of these games.
And, man, it feels bad. Sly is my favorite. Like it's one of my favorite. Like, I prefer Sly, but I'm sorry. I mean, Geralt, his experiences, we've seen that bathtub scene, okay?
Yeah.
I rest my case.
Okay, third one. Zero Suit Samus, Palutena, Bayonetta.
We just go in for the pure, serious, like, there hasn't been the joke one yet. I'm waiting for the joke one. All right. I think Mary Palutena.
The queen.
Palutena is the one that, like, she's a lot smarter than me. She's going to, like, you know, she won't put up with your shit. She'd be a good one. She would make me a better person, I think. I think it's the same thing as like Geralt. I think the bounty hunter aspect and all the stories that she has and everything. I think I smooch Zero Suit and then kill Bayonetta, which would also be very hard to do if I thought about how actually trying to do that.
Bayonetta's like, how kinky do you want to?
I'm about to say Bayonetta. Like I don't know. I don't know if I can. I can get into some stuff. But Bayonetta is going to be, the experience level is going to be like way too outmatched. Yeah, I don't know if I'm prepared for all that.
Yeah, well, we had the sexy women of Smash. Now the sexy men of Smash, I guess.
Okay.
Wario, Waluigi.
Hell yeah!
King
Here we
K.
go.
Rool.
Here we go. Here we go. Hooey. 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 I gotta smooch the meme. I'm smooching the Waluigi.
Nice.
I mean, he's gonna come to me with the rose in his mouth. It's gonna be great. Great is a strong word, but it's gonna be something.
Gonna be memorable.
It's gonna be memorable. But now, like, my problem is I have to wed one of these. The problem is I have to spend my life with a giant crocodile man that shoots.
Who's a king?
Who shoots lasers
and a pirate.
That is true. And then Wario would probably be the worst possible person to spend the rest of your life with.
He likes to fart a lot.
I'm gonna kill Wario.
Okay.
And I'm gonna wed King K. Rool for his money.
Okay. So Dory, this next one is a very interesting one. I was hoping it'd be more interesting than this, but I decided to go with this route, so that's what I did. I opened up Overwatch.
Okay.
Went to your player thing and picked your top to use characters on your.
Yeah, sadly, I know which one jumped over the other one that you maybe wish didn't, but
yeah.
Yeah.
We got Mercy, Moira, and Ashe.
Yep. Ashe has top soldier in my most played now. It used to be soldier. So it's another similar thought process. Obviously, marry Mercy. Obviously, she is another one that she is a good soul. She's going to stick with you and be good. I don't know. I'm learning. I think that I am just for the smooch category. I am attracted to the like wild people that have like. It's Ashe. It's Ashe because she's the whole cowgirl aspect is pretty badass. It's pretty cool. Diva's badass. Or who was the other one?
Moira.
Moira's cool, but yeah, I stand by my decisions.
Okay. Should get the theme for this
Moira's
one.
being killed.
Mila Maxwell, Luger Kresnik, Yuri Laurel. They're from Tailskins, by the way, people.
Yeah, Tipo. Is Tipo being thrown in the mix?
I wanted you to question things.
I'll do this in reverse order. I'm sorry, Jude. You're being killed. I'm sorry.
Jude's not in this.
Oh wait, who'd you say?
I said Mila Maxwell, Luger Kresnik.
Luger Kresnik. Okay, sorry.
Yuri Laurel.
I don't know why I heard Jude.
Jude Law.
I definitely make Jude Law. Yeah, Luger is a cool man. But Yuri's a very cool dude. They're all cool. They're all very cool. This is a tough one. This is the toughest one, I think.
I was gonna put Violet in here, but I was like, you probably question things more. I throw in Yuri instead.
Yeah, Yuri's cooler. And did you mean to say Velvet?
I said Velvet. Sorry.
Yeah. Velvet would have been on the chopping block. Sorry, Velvet.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to.
Velvet would eat you.
Yeah, she just eat me with her hand. I mean, I'm not quite into vor. I don't think that's my particular fetish, so I don't think that would end too well. I think I need someone a little more lively than Luger to settle down with. So I'm sorry, Luger's not. He is at least not going to be. Yeah, I think I'm gonna marry Mila, smooch Yuri, because again, the wild crazy man, I like it, and kill Luger, which it pains me. Especially after watching those three endings, it pains me to kill Luger.
Okay, Darby.
That's the way it has to be.
Robin, Corrin, Byleth.
Which one of all of them?
Whatever one you want them to be.
They can be whatever you want. I mean, Byleth's dead.
Okay.
Byleth. Sorry about it. It's gonna happen. I will go with just the ones that I made. which I barely remember because they're not memorable characters. They're all pretty bad, to be honest. If it was like Lucina, these other ones, then maybe. But
no, that's more fun.
Yeah, this is more fun. I will wed Robin. I think I enjoyed that character more. Smooch Corin, even though I hated Corin. Corin was a very like bland personality, but I don't know, the model was cute, so there you go. Smooch Corin.
Okay.
And Byleth dead.
Last one. I got these characters from your game of the years for the last couple years.
Okay.
So we got Link, Arthur Morgan, and Baba.
Oh boy, Baba is a pixelated sheep. All the ones I was not prepared for Baba. No, don't know if this is the correct game for Baba. Okay, I mean, here's what I'm not smooching a sheep. So we can eliminate that.
Coward.
Killing the sheep also. Wedding the sheep can mean just I have a pet sheep that I'm apparently, I guess, legally bound to. But it could just end that. The sheep is going to pass away at some point. It's just sheep. So I think Baba could still be on the table for wed. Now we have... So we had Arthur Morgan and Link. There's no way I'm settling down with Arthur Morgan. We've seen he is a very interesting character, great or whatever, but like he is not someone you can settle down with. So I'm gonna smooch Arthur Morgan because he is a very similar Geralt of Rivia, these other characters. Smooch Arthur Morgan. Then I'm going to you know what? I'm going to be legally bound to the sheep, but it's my pet sheep. Doesn't go any further. I just have a cool pet sheep. I just feel really bad about killing Baba. I just feel very bad about it. It's just the defenseless sheep. So, Link, you being killed, stabbed through the heart, and me and Baba will live a happy life.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
Was that the last one?
That was the last one.
That was the last one. How'd I do, Jeff? Did I pass?
You passed.
I passed. I won the game.
You picked the right waifus. And sheepondos.
Sheepondos. Oh my god. That should be like the title of this episode. Sheepondos.
It's up to you.
Oh boy. That was fun.
Yep.
Hopefully I didn't reveal too much about myself. There was definitely a theme, at least with the smooches. It was all the same type of character, I would say.
I didn't even think about when I put these together.
There was a theme, at least in that category.
My brothers was for the first one, obviously like women from games you love, and then I just decided, hey, it works out. I can do their counterparts. And then just go from there.
It was pretty funny. Those first two, they ended up being the same.
Yeah.
The same series. I feel bad about completely killing Sly Cooper off this whole thing, but this is not best. This is not,
If only I put the Murray.
I mean, we have a whole different topic, but that's another podcast.
Okay, Derek, time to talk about Sony.
All right. We have to talk about news now.
Yep. Okay. That's from Daniel and Mod. Total sell-in for PlayStation 4 has reached 108.9 million units as of December 31st, 2019. The console shipped 6.1 million units in the final quarter of 2019, down from 8.1 million units last year. Now approaching end of life cycle. Yep.
A lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That number is a high one.
But you know who's not on the high? PlayStation's Manchester studio. This comes from Christopher Ding from GameIndustry.biz. PlayStation will close its Manchester game studio. The firm confirmed to GameIndustry.biz that it intends to close it as part of our efforts to improve efficiency and operational effectiveness. We understand the entire studio has been made redundant. Sony's Manchester team was formed to create VR games back in 2015. The firm had been working on an unannounced VR game.
So they had not actually released the game?
I think they released something. I can't remember. Sony. Man.
VR. Hopefully that doesn't mean less focus on VR, but it might, because VR does not sell very well. Sadly, I do kind of expect to see potential reining back of VR. It's either they rein back in VR or they like fully commit and try to make like in the PS5. It's like you need to buy a PS5 and your VR. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You need the VR set to make the PS5 work.
It's Connect. Oh god. Oh no.
Oh no.
How dope would it be if like the PSVR 2 was just like bundled in with the PS5 for no extra cost? If they really want this to happen, if they want to go all the way into making this happen,
hey, just give them to us.
Just lose all your money. It's simple. Just
I'll buy one if you just give it to me.
It's easy. It's easy as that. I don't know why this is so hard. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say about any of this. 108.9 million sounds right. I mean, I forgot when it was that they crossed a million or 100 million.
That's a little bit ago.
A little bit ago, but
earlier 2019.
Yeah, 108.9 is a freaking ton of units, and it's probably still going to keep selling decently deep into the PS5's life cycle. So that console is going to forever probably be one of the top selling of all time. Show is,
but that's not enough for Microsoft to see them as a competitor. This comes from Tom Warren from The Verge.
One into another.
Microsoft head of gaming and Xbox, Phil Spencer, has revealed that the company sees Amazon and Google as its main competition for the future. Speaking in an interview with newly launched technology publication Protocol, Spencer dismisses Sony and Nintendo's ability to create a cloud infrastructure that will challenge Microsoft, Google, or Amazon. Quote, when you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have a ton of respect for them, but we see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward, said Spencer. That's not to disrespect Nintendo and Sony, but the traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess they could try to recreate Azure, but we've invested tens of billions of dollars in cloud over the years.
I think he's correct that Sony and Nintendo are not nearly as well set up to like create cloud infrastructure and like the streaming and everything like that. I think he's correct in there. I think he's incorrect in thinking that means that Nintendo and Sony are not still the main competitors.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. At least Sony.
Yeah. Like I think that like, yes, that's true, but I also think that people are putting a little bit too much stock in the whole cloud thing being the sole feature.
Yeah.
I think Sony having the suite of games and studios that they have right now is still leagues above what Xbox has, and I think that's still important. I don't think that's completely irrelevant. You know, it makes sense for Phil Spencer to say this, but basically what I'm getting at is I think Sony is a lot more of a competitor than he's making it out to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Sony's going to be considered a competitor for sure for at least a little while, but I think Phil's right in the aspect of what the future Microsoft is heading towards and what might be a future in gaming. Google and Amazon are the competitors in that field. But as long as they're still making like Xbox Series X consoles, PlayStation at the very least, if not also Nintendo, will be competitors.
Right. It's because of PlayStation that I'm not buying an actual physical Xbox machine, because I'm not spending money on two consoles when
all the exclusive games will be on Game Pass for your PC.
But when you think of a competitor, I think that like their success impacts your success, and I think that is 100% still true with PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like PlayStation's success this gen was a very, very big part of Xbox's failures this gen. You know, and I think that's still true, but I do think that this is an avenue for Xbox to go another way. And if this is another avenue, I would have to say I think Xbox is winning that when you compare them to Google. When you just compare some of the maybe not like the actual technology, but at least getting people to be interested in this. Yeah. I think so. Like at least in our spheres, xCloud is seeming to be so much more of a slam dunk than Stadia. Mm-hmm. And then who knows what Amazon.
Yep. Speaking of Xboxes and their people.
They're all androids over there, Jeff.
Okay. Makes sense from Matt Kemp, my GN. Rod Fergusson, Gears 5 director and head of Microsoft The Coalition Studio, announced that he is leaving the company to join Blizzard in March. Ferguson says he will be overseeing the Diablo franchise in his new role. Quote, starting in March, I will join Blizzard to oversee Diablo franchise, said Ferguson in a farewell tree post on his personal account. Leaving is bittersweet, as I love our Gears family, the fans, and everyone at the Coalition and Xbox.
Godspeed, my dude, because Blizzard needs a win.
Yeah, and I guess that the tie makes sense because Gear 5's out and has been out for a little bit, so what he would probably need to be due for this game is done. So timing makes sense at the very least if he was to do this.
Yeah, it does.
Well, also from Diablo's standpoint too. Yeah,
which I think Diablo is still pretty dang early. I mean, like, just because it's obvious that there's been a lot of problems with Diablo 4. Yeah, I don't know. Like, everyone, like, moving into Blizzard, there's been several, like, big names moving over to Blizzard, and it's always just like, good luck, dude, because it seems like it's been a rough year and change for Blizzard as they move from one, bad PR thing to the next between all the Blitzchung stuff and then the Warcraft 3 stuff that we're not covering because we're not familiar at all with that ecosystem, but that whole Warcraft 3 Reforged has been an absolute nightmare for that company, just with false promises that were like obviously changed and just broken shit, and it's terrible. Yeah. So I would be concerned moving into Blizzard, but maybe this guy sees it as a challenge. I don't know. Yeah.
Be curious to see what happens with the Coalition for now. I mean, obviously they still got to be a studio, but maybe.
And what they do with Gears too, because it's just another one.
Gears is why the Coalition exists. This Coalition is made just for Gears.
Yeah, but I get the feeling like, I mean, Gears is like a Halo, but way worse in its fall. I mean, because Gears 5 is by all accounts a good game. I don't hear a soul talking about it, and I don't think it sold that well. It didn't sell anywhere near what the height of Gears was, and I just can't see Gears getting back to that without like a crazy change. And I don't know. I know we're getting kind of off of him going to Diablo thing, but we don't have a lot to talk about with this, but it'll be interesting.
Yep. Okay, Durst. Time for stories. Because I don't have anything written down for this, so I might be rambling a little bit.
Story time with Jeff.
Once upon a time, there was a studio called Platinum Games. They made lots of games. Some people love, some people kind of like. Some
it got really weird with the hair and the hair costumes and the hair sexual content.
And the maids.
and the maids.
With them covered eyeballs and their upskirts and their...
It got weird, but people like the weird, so good weird. And then there was a bad Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game in there somewhere.
And a bad Legend of Korra
We don't talk about those.
Yeah, let's don't. Well, Platinum announced the Platinum 4. 4 announcements that could be anything that people could desire. Anything, dark. Your deepest, darkest desire. It could have been it.
A Sly Cooper mech game? That's not my design. I was just trying to think of something.
Well,
but now I'm thinking about that. Think about Sly Cooper in a mech.
I can see that being a level.
I can totally see that being a level.
But there was a game that was on a console called the Wii U.
What is that? I've only heard it in Legends.
It's what we call a major failure.
Oh,
but there's a game on there about 101
Dalmatians?
wonderful people. Yes. And the 101 was you.
Me?
Yes.
I did it.
People wanted it to not be just on the failing console where it failed.
But sometimes things just don't work out.
But this time, it might be working out. Because the first of the Platinum 4 is a Kickstarter for the wonderful 101.
And how much money are we at right now? Because you just pulled it up.
1,531,104 of their original roughly $50,000 goal.
Not bad for a dead game, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, what exactly is this Kickstarter?
A remaster for it coming to current gen consoles. The 50,000 was just for the Switch version,
Right.
and then the stretch goals. Let's see, we get to it. It was 250,000 for Steam, 500,000 for the PS4. So all that's done, and then the other stretch goal is like Time Attack, a DLC side-scrolling mission thing, remix soundtrack featuring a secret special guest. So since they have that, I imagine they were expecting to hit that goal at least.
Yeah.
They haven't hit that yet because it's 1.75 million, but they are well on their way with 25 days left.
That's awesome because
And it just went up again.
because this game was an absolute flop. So it's cool to see there's any support out there completely. So you as someone who played this game and really liked it, great.
Yes, I didn't finish it because of that. The point where I started playing it is when I started not wanting to bring out my Wii U as much.
Yeah.
So I haven't done it yet. I'm probably gonna back this.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask, how hyped does this make you, and like, what's your likelihood of actually playing it on the Switch, and what do you think this means likelihood for, and your excitement for a new Wonderful 101?
So again,
Both
like
of
I
those
said,
questions.
yeah. So like I said, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and back this, especially since, and this is part of my way to be like, taught myself into it a little bit. Wonderful 101 was such a failure. It's one of the few Nintendo games that actually went down in price. So I got it for $15.
Wow.
And
That happens.
and to back this for the new version, for a physical version, it's $40. So I'm like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That is more than fair.
Yeah.
And plus, it's coming out in April, where I might be able to stick it in there.
Oh, you gotta be on your third playthrough of Final Fantasy VII.
I'm not doing that, Darby. So yeah, I'm very interested. I got 25 days to think about it. I think I might go ahead and do it.
What you think about a new one?
Do
you think there's a chance that they're just doing this just for the, like, hey, we're gonna port this game because like we're doing it for the fans. All right, we did it. Cool. Wonderful 101's not dead. Or do you think that? Do you think that internally is this studio thinking about a new Wonderful 101?
Yes, I think they are wanting to do this.
Yeah.
Kamiya, especially, and the studio in general, have been wanting to do this. They've even kind of like, hey, we want to make a Switch port too, kind of thing. Like, and they like this franchise. This is a cult classic. Hopefully going to a big audience. It has some demand, obviously, with that.
Yeah.
But
obviously, still like $1 million is not nearly enough to make a whole new game.
Oh no, not a whole
like
new game.
But if Platinum sees that, like, hey, maybe there's enough people that care about this. Yeah.
So yeah, here's what I think. I think this whole thing is to gauge interest in the game, because the remaster based on this, something I noticed that hasn't been broadcast at a crazy amount, I don't think, is when you look at it, estimated delivery for the digital physical version, whatever, it's April 2020. So the remasters are done.
yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
So I think this is to help cover some of the costs and to just do interest.
So
and
something they already did, basically. In there.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's kind of for, like I said, to see what the interest is, do for this extra stuff. And I think to help cover costs, because recently Tencent has now a stake in Platinum Games.
Yeah.
I think it pretty much can. I think Daniel Ahmad might have been the one.
Daniel Ahmad said, like, people said, like, wait, why are they doing this when they have Tencent money? And Daniel Ahmad said that the Tencent money was just for AAA, like, bigger games. Like, basically, that money didn't count for this because, like, Tencent. Pretty much, yeah. Tencent didn't want to fund this, basically.
I think this is also maybe a way to help show, hey, there is interest in this game, so maybe down the line, Tencent can help fund this game. If it's a sequel to the Wonderful 101.
Because I'm sure if you're a big investor putting in money or whatever, and you're looking at the IP and you see Wonderful 101, and you're like, oh, the game that absolutely bombed last year, and you're like, no, thank you. But maybe if this sells well. Yeah,
I think this is a game that's definitely worth a second chance. I mean, there are plenty of games, obviously other games on the Wii U that are worth it. Yeah. I think this one in particular, I think is definitely worth a second chance, especially now that it's going multi-platform. Yeah. Because I feel like obviously, I'm not saying it's not going to be a big multi-million copy seller or whatever. I'm not saying that, but I think there's a potential market for this kind of game.
Right.
Obviously, the crazy action games that Platinum is known for are well-made one by all accounts, and I think the design of the characters and all that, there's something there too that could reach a much wider audience than what it got on the Wii U.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And
I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool.
Also, I love the $101 one where Kamiya blocks you.
Blocks you on Twitter.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I didn't really understand because didn't know this guy was like a jerk on Twitter or something.
Necessarily a jerk. It's less of a jerk and more he doesn't take shit.
Yeah, but it seems like he's self-aware, which is nice.
Yeah. He's very self-aware. So, yeah, really cool. Like I said, I might opt for that physical edition. Plus, you get a special cover for it.
I saw someone there like within the like that stretch goal. They're like, but if you don't want him to block you, you don't have to do that. Yeah.
I'm also very curious. There's another reason put this in here is I'm curious what the other 3 of the Platinum 4 are, because there are 3 other announcements.
Yeah. It's Platinum, so it could be anything. It could be one of their mini IPs and stuff. It could be something completely new, or it could be a license thing, because they've done a lot of license
Nier
things.
sequel, let's go.
Yeah. It's gonna happen. They or at least like Yoko Taro's being given the right to do whatever he wants. He might want to do a new IP. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like,
If there is a Nier game, I don't know if there's. I think there's a chance Platinum's not going to be the one necessarily developing it.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, depending on it, because I think there's a chance of it, just because a lot of the people reason like it is people obviously really like the combat. I do, but it's Yoko Taro's wackiness that could do it, and with the whole 10-cent thing, it might potentially.
I would just think the Nier Automata sold enough to where Platinum would want to be in on that again.
And my whole thing was maybe less Platinum and more 10-cent. Like, I don't know how that's all going to work, because then they got to deal with 10-cent and Square.
Yeah. I don't know.
Again, what I'm saying is I'm just pulling my ass and probably means absolutely nothing. But, it's something to think about.
I would just say, like, Nier Automata sold well enough to where I would think the band would be together for whatever Yoko Taro does. Unless Yoko Taro just wants to leave and do something else. Like, I could see Yoko Taro not wanting to do Nier, wanting to do something else. But I imagine, like, you and Jacob would be in for whatever the hell it is that he does do.
Yeah. People have... There have been some hints potentially about a Nier remaster. What could be crazy if they do an original Nier remake.
Yeah.
Platinum developed
it's a game that like no one played.
Yeah. And now that it's Nier,
but wouldn't you kind of rather just see Yoko Taro do something completely new, or like a new continuation of Nier or something like that, rather than see him rehash things they did? I mean, I don't know. That guy just seems like such a cool creative mind. I wouldn't want to see him. I would rather see him being like, what the fuck is going on?
I agree. I'm just throwing out ideas of some stuff that... Yeah. Because there have been some little hints, but they're kind of hints that could mean absolutely nothing, just cute little nods or whatever, to a potential original Nier something.
Yeah.
Whether it be a remaster.
I would think another Nier game would be more likely, even if it has like no ties to... Because doesn't like Nier and Nier Automata, if they have ties, aren't they like very like loose ties? I mean...
No comment.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure shit gets crazy and they end up like tying together more. But it might be a game that at least on the surface seems like it has nothing to do, even if it ends up having connections. But Nier Automata is very different, at least.
No comment. I'm not going to into it. There are definitely connections to it.
Yeah,
like straight up just connections. Like,
but at least it's not as overt. And it might be a similar thing. Like you might come here and it plays completely different than Nier Automata, and it's completely different characters into a point, and then some things cross over. But like I could see it not being like.
I mean, let me put it this way: the kind of connections where they're big deals to people who played Nier, and even I was able to get some of them for basic knowledge, but you didn't need to know it to get it.
And I could see the same thing coming. Like, I honestly would be surprised if this game was called Nier Automata 2. Yeah. I would be kind of surprised. I expect Nier something else.
The thing that's interesting is, and I'm saying I want this, but because 2B as a character is so much more popular than anything else in the regular Nier, especially at the time of the making.
Probably more popular than the game.
Yeah. So I am curious if that might be, well, maybe not Yoko Taro himself, but maybe Square overlords being like, 2B's gotta be in this game, please put her
I
in
just
this
hope
game.
the Yokotaro has the right to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Oh,
That's
so
just what I hope. But
Just give him the blank check.
yeah, if he doesn't want 2B to be in this game, then so be it.
Hey,
Let him do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
I'm for whatever Yokotaro does next,
Yeah.
near or otherwise at this point.
Yeah. Yep.
If it is a nearly type thing, in a way that Automata is a sequel to the first Nier, I'm all for that too.
All right, stick with me. Near Kart Racer.
You broke the code, man. And somehow there's some philosophy in the way you drift.
There's like you gotta play all the endings of the Kart Racer.
If you pause and look slowly, there's a bunch of philosophy on the wheels.
philosophy, there's just the Bible is printed on the wheels.
What could it mean?
Oh boy.
But actually, the wheels are just the Yokotaro head thing.
Definitely, yeah, that has to be a cart. That has to be a cart.
Okay.
All right, let's get out of here with apparently some bummer news to get to end this off. Let's all get sad and then say bye.
Yeah, this comes from Arjun Karpel from CNBC. Nintendo said production deliveries of some of its projects, including its flagship Switch console, will be delayed due to the outbreak of the new coronavirus. The gaming giant said the Switch and the Joy-Con controllers that go with it, which are made in China, will be among the products affected. Nintendo noted that this will have an impact on its domestic Japanese market only. It also said that Ring Fit Adventure, a video game with an accessory which is currently out of stock, will be delayed. Quote, "We will continue to work to deliver products as soon as possible while paying close attention to the effects of the new coronavirus infection, and we look forward to your understanding," Nintendo said in a statement in Japanese, translated via Google. I imagine that was a Google thing with the "we look forward to your understanding."
Yeah,
That's
a weird line.
Yeah. The coronavirus, which originated in China, has spread across the world and claimed the lives of over 500 people. Last year, Nintendo did move some production of the Switch from China to Vietnam. While Nintendo warned about delays in Japan, Daniel Ahmad, senior analyst at games market research firm Nico Partners, said that it could become a problem in other markets like the US too. There's more stuff going on there, but it kind of just goes along with all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising because China is just such a big deal, like I said earlier in the show, in every industry almost.
Yeah, when all this stuff came up, the people were naturally, I think, brought up the whole how does this affect next gen thing if this continues. Right now, it wouldn't affect it at all because the production for the next gen consoles probably wouldn't start till like June or something. But if it continues till then, and obviously, this is a weird thing to talk about because it's such a serious thing, but we're talking in the thing of toys.
Yeah, and I mean, but like that, obviously, everything we're about to say here is in absolutely nowhere near the actual important thing. You know? But this is a gaming show, so we're going to talk about this very serious topic and how it affects gaming. But yeah, know that us talking about this is not saying that this is what's important because it's not. But yeah. But yeah, there were like some people were talking about the next gen consoles, and like Daniel Mott said, this continues, it could affect stuff like the US too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wonder if it would affect it to the point like if this does not slow down, does not get contained and everything, like would this end in like there is actually a price jump because it cost, like it was, they had to put more of their manufacturing in house in the US or in Japan or something, and it makes it like I could see that happening. I don't think it would happen that fast, but I do think that it could like I think a big sign is if you start seeing phones and other things cost more because of this, then the consoles might like feel like they can bump it up or like feel like they have to bump it up or something. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that this affects next gen consoles this fall being more expensive. I would predict that it won't, but it would not be the most shocking thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. I should have looked this up, and I apologize. This is already kind of affecting with the U.S. Weren't the Animal Crossing Switches delayed? I remember there were people talking about starting with it. I think that sounds right. Yeah. I mean, I could look it up if you want, but yeah, go ahead. I was just saying that's the thing. So it's already affecting us. It makes sense. This is a brand new SKU that's coming out now. Yeah, the Nintendo says coronavirus is delaying Switch production. I'm guessing this is Animal Crossing Switch. Yeah, I mean, that was February 6th.
New Animal Crossing model.
Yeah. Animal Crossing model and Ring Fit being affected by that. And then obviously we saw the game developing thing earlier with Outer Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, every single time I look at another thing with the coronavirus, the death toll has gone up more, and there's more cases in other places. Like all those Overwatch League matches, there were so many of them set to be in China, and they've all been canceled at this point. I honestly don't know what they're going to do with that. I don't know if all those matches are just going to be held at some neutral site in America. I'm sure that's a catastrophe. But there's, again, so many instances like that. There's people who traveled to China and came back here, and now they're quarantined just because, they were there. It's very scary. Very scary stuff. So, I don't know. I think we both predict that no matter what happens, I do think that it's not going to directly affect a lot of things this year other than the delays and everything, but it also definitely could.
Yeah. It just depends how long it goes, but hopefully not long.
God! It obviously it goes without saying. I really, really hope it, doesn't go. It gets handled. I think still the national organization or whatever is still classifying it not as a complete epidemic yet. But I mean, it's spreading. It's getting worse. No. Everybody stay safe. All right. Well, on that downer note, I think that's a podcast.
Yep.
So thank you guys so much for listening. Go ahead and check out Pokemon Nuzlocke. That's real good. Nerds and Dragons, our D&D podcast. The whole first arc is up now, and the second arc, I'm hopefully going to be uploading the second arc really soon, and that'll go on a weekly basis. And then we're working on the third arc, or I'm working on writing it. We haven't recorded it yet, and that will go out after that. So, sorry, this is how it's going to work. There's probably going to be gaps in between all these arcs because it just takes a long time to make this, but
and fingers crossed that next week I can have impressions, whatever, for Kingdom Hearts Slay Your Remind and the Dream Story mode.
Okay, those are not the things I thought. I thought you were gonna say fingers crossed direct, and I'm like, Jeff, we can't just keep
that too.
We can't just keep.
I was thinking about
the direct.
Fingers crossed.
We gotta shut up about the direct until it happens.
No,
you cannot silence us.
We're gonna will it into existence again.
All right, thank you guys so much. Bye.
Bye.